Hello and welcome fans and friends, my name is 8-Bit Ben and today I'm going to do a controller review on the InterAct Superpad made for the Nintendo GameCube. I got this controller quite a while ago and I do admit I haven't really used it that much since then, but I've used it probably a handful of times and I felt that I wanted to do a review on it as with every other controller that I own, and it's going to also include a couple of official controllers. So you may wonder, why would you actually want a third-party GameCube controller? And the reason you may want one is because if you have a couple of friends, then you might have an awful lot of money to spend to get additional controllers. They may not want to buy an extra controller, and so you probably just look for the next best thing, and that is third-party controllers. So this one is called the Superpad, and it was made by a company called InterAct. I don't know what year. I think I'll just check. Doesn't really say in here what year it was made in, but it's very unique shape. It's very reminiscent of the prototype Nintendo GameCube controller, where it had like a B button, and this is pretty much unique to this one controller. When it comes to third-party controllers, even official controllers, as far as the prototype controller goes, it's very rare. And this is probably the next best thing you're going to get to it. It has very thin handles, and whenever you hold it in certain games, you can feel a slight gap right about here. Just something I kind of noticed. Just kind of depending what size hands you have, that might be a problem for you, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And our kind of gripe I have is that these buttons here feel a little bit higher than the A button. So if you're playing a game like F-Zero GX, then you might find that you have to hold it in a certain way, basically. So I did test this game with 3 games, which I'll show you here. The 3 games I tested with was, of course, F-Zero GX, put on the floor, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Smash Bros. Melee. I'll probably always use those 3 games to test out any controller, because they always test out each of the features that a controller needs. Like you have like the C stick, which controls the camera, the standard analog stick, which gets used for racing games, platforming games, every single game out there. Also the D-pad for menu navigation. And then you have the shoulder buttons, which these are digital plus analog. So the analog part is where it presses down short, and the long press is the digital button. So that was something that was kind of unique on the Nintendo GameCube controller. This one also has a function where you can turn off the rumble, and of course that does work for games that might even support turning off the rumble. So if you find that rumble is quite annoying, that's quite a useful function. But not only that, another gripe I have about this controller is that the rumble is not that brilliant. It's kind of, well, in a way, it's kind of weak. You can actually hear it more than you really feel it, which is kind of, I don't know what the word would be for that, but the rumble, it does its job for what you pay for this sort of thing, as these controllers are a lot cheaper than the official one. Which is another good reason to get any third-party controllers. Is a lot cheaper than an official one. But yeah, there isn't really too much else I can really mention. Do you find that sometimes this stick here will stick to the bottom? It happens sometimes. You just need to kind of press it down. And I have a weird feeling that these sticks used to be able to click down properly at one point, even though that was never a function on the original GameCube controller. I'm sure they used probably standard stick boxes for this controller, and so that's why you can hear a slight click in whenever you press it in. I'm sorry if the camera is shaking there, but again, it has thinner handles than the official controller. It has, like, the way they did the shoulder buttons is kind of more sunken into the controller shell, and so your hand just kind of sits into it like that. And it's not as comfortable, and it's not as easy to pull off something like a wave dash because of it. because it's really hard. There's a lot of travel. It depends what way you put your finger on it. The Z button feels like there's more travel on it. It's not so much like a mouse click. It's more like probably like the next hardest thing to do than a mouse click. It works. Every single button that's here works perfectly fine. The D-pad, it's not the best D-pad, but it works. And everything here appears to work. I haven't really experienced any dead zones with the analog sticks. This stick here does feel very nice, but isn't brilliant for anything that isn't really, racing games. And this here doesn't feel as good as the small C stick that you get in the official controller for Melee as well, just a note. So yeah, if you need a third-party GameCube controller, I can recommend this, but it's not the best controller in the world. If you really like your friends, just get the official controller, and it's always worth having a second official controller in case the other one breaks down, or the sticks go loose. As for this one, the sticks are pretty tight actually, and it's nice overall. It's a nice alternative in a way, but it's not better than the official controller. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Have you ever used this controller yourself? Is there any other things about it that you like or dislike? Just let me know in the comments below. I'm going to do more controller reviews in the near future. Like, comment, and subscribe, but only do that if you want to.